Hello, private security professionals, and welcome back to this episode of The Security Talk Show by 360 PSA. देखिए, प्राइवेट सिक्योरिटी इंडस्ट्री लैंडस्केप बहुत ही रैपिडली इवॉल्व कर रहा है। तो अगर आप इस इंडस्ट्री के कोई भी एक स्टेक होल्डर हैं, आप एक प्राइवेट सिक्योरिटी एजेंसी ओनर हो सकते हैं, आप एक प्राइवेट सिक्योरिटी प्रोफेशनल हो सकते हैं, तो ये वाला कॉन्वर्सेशन आपके लिए बहुत ज्यादा रिलेवेंट होने वाला है। इस एपिसोड में हम बात कर रहे हैं मिस गरिमा गोस्वामी से, जो कि हैं co-founder and CEO of Dridji Security International. With over 23 years of experience across academics and consulting, Ms. Garima Goswami is also a certified protection professional from ASIS, an awardee from multiple prestigious institutions, a well-published security author, a geopolitics and risk intelligence expert, and an integral part of numerous सिक्योरिटी इंडस्ट्री बॉडीज। उनका पूरा प्रोफाइल आपको इस वीडियो के डिस्क्रिप्शन में मिल जाएगा। सो विदाउट एनी फर्दर अडू, चलते हैं इस कॉन्वर्सेशन में। सो गरिमा, वील डायरेक्टली जंप इनटू द कॉन्वर्सेशन, राइट? सो फ्रॉम योर एक्सपीरियंस एज अ सिक्योरिटी प्रोफेशनल, व्हाट इज इट दैट यू वुड से इज योर बिगेस्ट टेकअवे from the security industry thus far?
Okay, I think my biggest takeaway, since I have been around for quite some time, is that change is the only constant. You know, the way the security industry has changed from what it was 10 years ago to 15 years ago to 5 years ago to where we are right now, and the manner in which it is changing in a very fast-paced track. So yeah.
So what do you think is driving this change, Garima? Is it like the service providers themselves, or is it the end client, basically the consumer of security services, who are pushing for this kind of a change?
It is actually neither of the two. The landscape has changed. We're basically protecting people, assets, and let's say reputation. Now a lot is in the digital landscape. So money has now become digital, right? People are also more concerned about their reputation than they are of money.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so that way there's a paradigm change in the way people think and the way people operate. So earlier, physical security was very, very important. It still is, in a very minimalistic manner, right? So there is a requirement of there being guards or there being eyes on the ground. If somebody is out from their workplace or from their home, so they need somebody behind to take care of their property. So physical security is there, but there's very less assets which are actually kept inside, let's say, a house or an office, right? Even the kind of files or the kind of documentation which was very, very sacrosanct and sacred earlier, they're all digital. You know, so it is more important to ensure that your cyber security is intact, your soft copies are intact than hard copies. We have gone paperless. We have gone paperless in terms of documentation and in terms of currency. So I think that is the driving force of change.
So essentially what you're saying is that the threat landscape which has changed because our way of operating has changed. It has now become digital first. I would not say only digital, but digital first, because there is still a significant chunk which is still physical.
Right.
So that has caused this change in the industry that you have seen.
Right.
So in that aspect, Garima, what do you think will happen in the physical security space? What do you forecast for this part of the industry?
In the physical security space, anyway, it was very difficult for physical security professionals to sort of how do I say it in a polite manner, justify their salaries. You know, it was very, very difficult for them to justify their salaries because, you know, unless there is an incident, their worth is not showcased.
Yeah.
Right? And in physical security, we are in the business of selling fear. And we are in the business of selling fear that, oh, you know what, if this thing happens to you, if a human life is lost, let's say because of a fire, right? That is the kind of fear which we want there to be instilled in people's minds in order to sensitize them about very basic requirements, which is like basically life safety, right? So it will become exceedingly difficult for physical security professionals to justify their salaries now that most of the assets are digitalized, and they have very little to do with protecting those assets. Now their sort of KRA has reduced, or the subset has reduced to just protecting people. And unfortunately, people give more worth to assets than to people. That is a sad truth of life, especially in a country like India where the population density is high. So it's in a way, I don't want to trivialize it, but human life is less important than, let's say, a software or a car or something which is expensive. So there are a lot of these construction places where a lot of laborers lose their lives, in safety hazards, because the equipment is not in a particular manner, they have not been trained properly. But those cases go on and on and on with the labor codes and everything. So and nothing really seems to come of it with respect to the legal aspect also at times. So yeah, because human life is very is not valued that much. Therefore physical security professionals will have a harder time trying to justify themselves and their jobs.
Right. So very interesting point made, Garima, because you, I think, said two things. One, of course, is that the end asset, which includes human life that you are protecting, is maybe not as valuable, which is why the security apparatus, which is set up to secure that particular asset, cannot be over and above a certain price point or a cost point, right? The second thing is that, the physical security aspect in the industry today, because they were anyway dealing with something which was intangible in nature, which is why you said that it was always difficult for them to justify their jobs. That is going to become harder.
Right.
So in that light, if today, let's say, our conversation is being listened to by a private security agency owner, what would your advice be to them? Would it be to shift their business model from, let's say, physical to digital first, or would it be something totally else?
So I think that there has to be a completely different landscape which the physical security professionals should now look at, because to go digital, they have to upskill themselves and also their teams at a rate which will be very economically also not feasible for them, and also intellectually it will take some time. Because the whole cybersecurity domain itself also has very established players. So for them to then establish themselves as a key player then becomes very difficult, right? But alternately, what can be done, and I think which ideally should be done, if risk mitigation measures are done are adapted after doing risk assessments, right? After identifying the risk, looking at residual risk, and ensuring that you have good mitigation measures in place, then the requirement of physical security professionals being on the ground, de-escalating, let's say, a conflict, whether it be with the union, whether it be, with some residents, or any conflicts which basically require manpower, which basically require physical force, ideally should not happen if you have proper risk mitigation measures in place. So risk management is an area which physical security agencies should actually explore into. क्योंकि अगर रिस्क आपके आइडेंटिफाइड होंगे, अगर आपका विजिटर मैनेजमेंट सिस्टम ऐसा है कि कोई आ नहीं सकता, अनऑथराइज एंट्री हो नहीं सकती, ट्रेस पासिंग हो नहीं सकती, ठीक है, तो आपकी जो पेरीमीटर है वो ब्रीच ही नहीं होगा, तो रिक्वायरमेंट नहीं होगी किसी ऐसे गार्ड की जिसको एक्शन में आने की जरूरत हो. If you have your fire safety measures in place, then the possibility of even having a small fire reduces. So in case there's a fire, then your guards will be trained enough, or people will be trained enough, not only guards but anybody would be trained enough on how to use a fire extinguisher, or what is the protocol or the SOP to be followed. Right. So it is very important to have mitigation measures in place and to understand that. And I think somewhere our industry has sort of looked another way. कि इसमें कौन टाइम इन्वेस्ट करे, ये काम हम किसी एक्सटर्नल इंसान को क्यों दे, हमारा तो सब कुछ ठीक है,
Right.
जब तक ये एटीट्यूड रहेगा that we are fine, we are doing a splendid job, nobody does a better job than us, but the fact is that हमसे better बहुत लोग करके दिखा चुके हैं, करते हैं, and a person or particular agency or particular, you know, वो ego नहीं आना चाहिए when you're talking about security. So we have to get rid of the aham and we have to look at the larger picture, and we
Right.
have to look at the areas where we lack. And work on the areas of improvement. And I think adopting risk management protocols and having risk mitigation measures is something which is extremely important for physical security agencies.
वेरी इंट्रीगिंग पर्सपेक्टिव गरिमा, क्योंकि एसेंशियली आप जो ये बोल रहे हो, जो मुझे समझ आ रहा है वो ये आ रहा है कि रादर देन ट्राइंग टू वर्क मोर ऑन योर रिस्पॉन्स स्ट्रेटजीज,
Right.
कि पोस्ट फैक्टो आप कैसे रिस्पॉन्ड करेंगे उस पर काम करने से बेटर आप ये कह रहे हो कि आप अपनी प्रीएम्प्टिव जो स्ट्रेटजीज हैं,
हाँ.
where you can foresee or predict a threat before it really materializes on ground,
Right.
आप उस पर काम कीजिए,
Right.
एंड उसके बेसिस पर अपना सिक्योरिटी apparatus आर्किटेक्चर डिजाइन कीजिए, एंड अगर आपका फोरसाइट अच्छा है, आपका प्रिडिक्शन अच्छा है, एंड आपका रिस्क मैनेजमेंट अच्छा है, तो आप ये कह रहे हैं कि आपको टू दैट एक्सटेंट रिस्पॉन्ड ही कम इंटेंसिटी से एंड डिसाइसिवनेस से करना पड़ेगा, राइट? राइट. सो वेरी इंट्रीगिंग पर्सपेक्टिव गर्मा, एंड इन दिस लाइट जैसे आपने एक दो स्किल्स की बात करी, जैसे रिस्क मैनेजमेंट इज वन, then you said that there should be no ego, so I would say humility or modesty or self awareness is another aspect that a security professional who wants to be future ready today must try and inculcate.
Right.
तो ऐसे और क्या skill sets हो सकते हैं? Could be soft skills, could be hard skills, जो आपके हिसाब से एक ideal security professional में होने चाहिए?
Okay. I think critical thinking is extremely important, and also to be able to visualize possible threats beforehand. So दूरंदेशी. So
Right.
for instance, when COVID was happening, it has just started in 2019, and South Korea and Singapore में there were cases. South Korea में there were these cases which were just increasing, and by that time our Prime Minister had that kind of global presence, and that kind of coordination with global leaders, that one could just have a very informed assumption that he is going to be in consultation with different countries as to how they are going to manage this pandemic. And I could foresee, especially when big companies like I think Twitter at the time and Google, when they started work from home, I knew that it is only about time that this is going to hit India, and it's going to hit India bad. And given a population density, especially in cities like Mumbai and Bangalore, where the population density is anyways very less, in a city like Delhi, where still the way the houses are made, the land is sort of wasted. But in a city like Mumbai, no space is every space is utilized.
So population density is higher.
Population density is higher, and even the way the houses are constructed. The real estate in Mumbai is very different from the real estate in Delhi NCR.
Of course.
Right. So I could visualize that that it is only about time that there's going to be a lockdown, and it's going to be a longish lockdown. And at that time in the company where I was working, I ensured that all my team members, they get their assets. They were working on some limited systems, and I had the management issue them separate assets and data cards and everything, to ensure that there is no disruption with respect to business continuity. Right, because I knew that ये तो होने वाला है. बाद में it so happened that the management had decided that, oh, you know what, the team is going to work out of the command control center. But by that time I had already made the necessary arrangements, and a 24-day lockdown was announced. And when the 24-day lockdown was announced, every other strategy which the management later thought कि अच्छा अगर हमें यहाँ से करना है तो हम कर लेंगे, so that did not work. But the good thing is that because वो दूरंदेशी थी कि ये होने वाला है, ये होगा, तो ट्रांसपोर्ट सिस्टम्स नहीं होंगे, ठीक है, उन लोग आएंगे कैसे, वहाँ पर रहने की प्रॉब्लम होगी, खाने की प्रॉब्लम होगी, there will be people who will be hogging on to resources. And all of that happened.
Yes.
And much more. There was so much which we could not see ahead of time. But you need to look at things ahead of time. You need to know that, okay, my speciality might be risk intelligence, but given AI, chat, GTP and all of that, I know that risk intelligence is not going to have its stronghold in the coming years. It is just going to be a conversation starter.
Right.
between people. Oh, you know what happening in Ukraine? Oh, you know what happened in Russia? Oh, yeah, this has happened, and you just like, oh, look at Google, and you don't need experts, you don't need analysts.
Yeah.
But right now, it is very difficult for an analyst to say that my job is in khatra.
In danger.
Yeah.
Yes. Absolutely agreed, Garima. And I think जो आपने इससे पहले भी पॉइंट बोला था जहां आपके पास ईगो नहीं होना चाहिए, I think that is also closely linked to having this दूरंदेशी.
Yeah.
Because a lot many times your existing beliefs will be challenged, and you will have to acknowledge that what you had started out with in
Yeah.
terms of जो आपका एक mindset था या जो आपके opinions थे, वो शायद अब with the changing landscape stand नहीं कर सकते, right? And that is where that part comes in, where you have to admit it कि ठीक है, this is what I had thought, but that is not how it is playing out to be.
Yeah.
It is playing out slightly differently. So I should have an open mind so as to predict as to where this is headed, right? But Garima, at the same point in time, दूरंदेशी होना या एक instinct होना is an intangible skill. So how should a security professional try and develop that skill? उसको कैसे आप inculcate कर सकते हैं अपने अंदर?
I think the way to inculcate important skills like this is there are two ways to do it. One is to you get on with your research. What I envisioned about COVID in Delhi NCR was based on my research of what was happening in South Korea or Singapore and what companies, big companies, what steps big companies were taking. And I said, अच्छा ये कर रहे हैं तो इसका कोई ना कोई reason होगा. ठीक है, यहाँ पे ये हो रहा है तो यहाँ पे ये हो सकता है. The second thing which at least I do, and I think you are a important part of it, is that I try to understand the younger generation. I try to understand the younger mindset because and I have a lot of respect for my seniors and I have a lot of respect for people I have learned things from, but beyond a point there comes a stagnation का point. ठीक है, अब मैं ज़्यादा नहीं सीख सकती क्योंकि उनका वर्ल्ड भी उतना ही है. ठीक है, बट जो हमसे यंग लोग होते हैं, they are coming up with these innovations. Although we have also seen a lot of change, but this particular generation has sort of toppled everything upside down. Right, and they continue to do that, and not only with respect to the way business runs or to the way security landscape is changing, but also the way the social structure is changing. Earlier there were marriages, then there were live-in relationships, then there were relationships. Now there's no relationships. But still people have interpersonal connects, and so in a way it is sort of degradation also of certain things when we look at the younger generation. But in many ways, the younger generation, there's a lot to learn from.
Right.
The younger generation today is very sensible with respect to the food they eat. They are very careful about their finances. Okay, they will not get tempted by a credit card. They will use UPI payments. They will be financially smarter than probably what I was at that age, or I was at your age. They will not get swayed away by a good-looking car. They would take an Uber. Right, so they have become very sensible and sensitive, and the world in which they are living is very different from the world in which we are living.
Yeah.
The more I adapt to the younger generation, the younger mindset, the better I will be able to foresee the changes which are going to happen, because they are going to be the people driving the change.
Correct.
People who are much older than me, beyond a point, they will not even understand this change. Because for them that is enough. They are like, too many new things are happening, we can't catch up. Right, but in order to catch up to those new things, we have to understand people who are driving those changes, and those younger people are doing that. For
Very
good
well
or for
said.
bad, yeah.
No, very well said, Garima, because ये बहुत जरूरी है समझना कि अल्टीमेटली जो आज की एक यंग जनरेशन है, मे बी दे आर नॉट डिसीजन मेकर्स टुडे, बट दे आर डेफिनेटली द डिसीजन मेकर्स ऑफ टुमारो, राइट? एंड आई थिंक व्हाट यू हैव आल्सो सेड, द मैसेज देयर इज कि अगर एज अ सिक्योरिटी प्रोफेशनल आप ये सारी स्किल सेट्स डेवलप करना चाहते हैं तो द इंस्पिरेशन इज ऑलवेज अराउंड यू. You just have to have that open mind and that acceptability and that keenness to learn from your environment, which is now by design constituted by more young people than old people.
Yeah, in fact, I would say that they are the decision makers in a way. Because of them, the current decision makers are changing their decisions.
Right. No, so the point that I made is coming from that perspective that today, let's say the tariff war that is happening in the world, right, that is being driven by a 74-75-year-old president of
Yeah,
the
yeah,
United States, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So to that extent, the decision makers who are still driving the world
Hmm.
are still of a certain generation, of a certain age, but tomorrow the things are going to be really, really different.
Right.
And today, how this generation is perceiving things, how they are formulating their own worldview, that will definitely impact their decisions in the future.
Right.
So,
Right.
as a security professional, it is only in our best interest
Hmm.
to sort of catch up and latch on to how these things change and then anticipate what it could lead out to become, right? So, great conversation, Garima. And I mean, we have already discussed ki, security में between physical and digital is going to assume more importance. Physical में भी जो particular skills हैं, जैसे risk management हो गया, दूरंदेशी हो गया, उसको develop करना बहुत जरूरी है. तो इस सब में आपको क्या लगता है टेक्नोलॉजी का कितना रोल है? Like on both sides of the thing, on both digital, of course, it is technology first, but even at the physical aspect of security, how do you think technology playing out its part?
I think technology, especially when we talk about physical security, the one thing which comes to mind is the only thing which comes to mind these days is CCTV. You know, but I believe that CCTV has also become, there's been an overflow. कि सीसीटीवी को हम ऐसे स्मार्ट कर देते हैं, सीसीटीवी में ये फीचर्स डाल देते हैं, सीसीटीवी में ये इंटेलिजेंस देगा, सीसीटीवी में वो इंटेलिजेंस देगा, बट द काइंड ऑफ थ्रेट व्हिच वी हैव नाउ, so CCTV no longer stands a chance. So for instance deep fakes. अब डीप फेक से यही बताना डिफिकल्ट है कि जो पर्सन आया था जिसको आपने कैमरे में देखा है वो रियल पर्सन है भी या नहीं,
राइट?
ठीक है, तो सीसीटीवी क्या ही कर लेगा, ठीक है, जो डेटरेंस का पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू भी है कि अच्छा सीसीटीवी लगाया है तो देयरफॉर कोई वो आएगा नहीं, बट एज वी हैड डिस्कस आई थिंक ऑन सम अदर प्लेटफॉर्म आल्सो दैट सीसीटीवी के ऑडिट्स नहीं होते. अगर सीसीटीवी का ऑडिट ही नहीं होगा तो डेटरेंस की भी कोई वैल्यू नहीं है, ठीक है. सो टेक्नोलॉजी, आई बिलीव सीसीटीवी के ऊपर बहुत ही ज्यादा इन्वेस्टमेंट जा रही है, जितने भी प्रोफेशनल्स हैं सिक्योरिटी प्रोफेशनल्स के. एट सम पॉइंट इट इज गोइंग टू बी लाइक दैट नोकिया का बड़ा वाला फोन, ठीक है, एक नई स्मार्ट टेक्नोलॉजी आ गई जिससे वो नोकिया का बड़ा वाला फोन आउटडेटेड हो गया,
राइट?
ठीक है, अब आपको स्मार्ट टेक्नोलॉजी ही करनी पड़ेगी. अब डीफेक्स आ गए हैं एंड डीफेक्स ये अभी तो बड़े छोटे छोटे लेवल्स पे आए हैं. दे आर बिग कंपनीज लाइक गूगल एंड माइक्रोसॉफ्ट, दे आर एक्चुअली वर्किंग ऑन रियली रियल लाइक deepfakes. And when they are going to hit the market, there's going to be a boom of deepfakes which no CCTV camera is going to be helpful. It is just going to be like an instrument which is there, but जो हमारा threat है उसको तो हम capture ही नहीं कर पा रहे हैं, ठीक है. तो जिस CCTV मैन्युफैक्चरर को या CCTV एक्सपर्ट को ये समझ आ गया कि अभी the future is of deepfakes, and unless you have a deepfake detector inbuilt in the CCTV, then your CCTV is going to be of no use.
But Garima, here I would ask that deepfakes are more of a virtual threat at the moment, right? While CCTVs deal with physical threats. Basically, that person is there in real life, that you see or not. I definitely take your point when it is about analyzing the CCTV footage, because once it is out of the system and then distributed to, let's say, multiple teams, then the team, unless of course the chain of custody is such that it is immutable, the team would never be able to ascertain or discern whether the footage that they have received is actually real or a deepfake. So that much I understand. But as far as a CCTV capturing a physical threat is concerned, how do you really see a deepfake playing out there?
So for instance, let's say if I want to conduct theft in this particular property, and there's a CCTV camera, and then the CCTV footage shows that it is my face because of facial recognition, right? I can just say that's my deepfake.
Okay.
So that was not physically me. I will probably give my that I was present at some other place. I will have somebody else vouch for me, right? And I will say that is my deepfake. ये तो मैंने बोला ही नहीं.
Right. Understood. So you're basically saying that it is always like an ever-existing alibi.
Yeah.
That this technology will soon become to be, right? That everybody will start claiming, okay, oh, this is not me in this video.
This is not me,
AI doctored, or this is a deep fake, or this is something else.
Yeah.
So unless, of course, people, as I said, right, maintain that chain of custody to the T, that they are able to prove कि नहीं यही original footage है, यही original person है, and this has not been
manipulated,
doctored with, तब तक आप नहीं बोल सकते कि ये असली है, नकली है, right? Understood. तो again, coming back to my question, गरिमा, तो टेक्नोलॉजी में जैसे deepfakes आ गए हैं, right? You did touch upon that. तो क्या आपको लगता है कि टेक्नोलॉजी is a friend or an enemy for private security providers?
I think friend and enemy तो नहीं. I think this technology of deepfakes as well as of the detectors have been created because all of us are value propositions. At the end of the day, everybody who is either creating deepfakes or trying to prevent deepfakes, they are actually hitting the market. ठीक है, तो end of the day, even government सबसे बड़ा साहूकार है. With DPDP Act, there are going to be a lot of accountability with respect to data protection. But what is actually happening? The government is going to take money from big companies because the data would have been stolen. But जब आपका data steal हुआ है, data किसका steal हुआ है? End user का. ठीक है, अब end user का data steal हो गया, government ने दूसरी कंपनी से पैसे ले लिए. एंड यूजर को क्या मिला?
कुछ भी
ठीक है, एंड यूजर को जाना पड़ेगा पुलिस के पास. पुलिस के पास वैसे ही बहुत सारे केसेस हैं. ठीक है, उनके केस बस होते जाएंगे. अभी मर्डर केसेस तो इंडिया में सॉल्व नहीं हुए हैं, तो ये डेटा प्रोटेक्शन के केसेस का सॉल्व होंगे नहीं होंगे. सो एट द एंड ऑफ द डे, द एंड यूजर इज अ वैल्यू प्रोपोजिशन फॉर एवरीबॉडी, for the government, and for that matter even law enforcement. I sort of place the end user and law enforcement in the same category as people who are suffering, and they are the people who will be victims, and everybody else, whether it be the government or whether it be big tech companies or whether it be small company like me, we are going to make money off them. You know, like, I'll be very honest. I can say that, you know, I've made this detector so that, you know, I can detect deepfakes so that the world is a better place. But why are there these deepfakes in the first place?
Right.
You know, to fool people. Because they are tools to fool people. We need a tool to ensure that people are not fooled. Right. But both of them are selling points.
Right.
And they're going to sell like hotcakes. Yeah.
So we really appreciate your honesty and you know how straightforward you have been with the changing landscape and the opportunities that it is creating, both for threat actors as well as for security providers.
Yeah.
Because I believe that, you know, there are two sides of the same coin. Right. So Garima, coming to your personal experience in this industry, right? What got you in the industry in the first place? And then after so many years of experience, what keeps you going still? What is your motivation?
I think I stepped into this industry inadvertently by looking for a job. I was good at secondary research because my background is philosophy. I had just finished my MPhil dissertation, and my dissertation topic was on altruism. So altruism was taking care of other people, right? So I think somewhere that aspect of you know, of altruism plus research sort of got me in the industry as a risk analyst. I started with Pinkerton, and then I worked in different companies including KPMG Global, Iris Consulting, and now I have my own company, Rigi Security International. What really drives me is a desire to know more. I am inquisitive about the world around me. I am inquisitive about the kind of frauds which are happening. But because I also have an ethics background, I'm an ethics professional. I've done my MPhil dissertation in ethics. I've majored in ethics. So the desire to do the right thing,
Right.
you know, that combines with my inquisitiveness. So because I'm inquisitive, I would want to know what new frauds are there, and because they are frauds, and because I believe that, you know, doing the right thing is an important thing to do, I will find ways to ensure that, you know, a fraud is uncovered or a fraud is prevented. So it is that desire to ensure that, you know, people are taken care of, and the fact that people are taken care of, that I think is an extremely important part for any security professional.
So till the time there is bad, evil, wrong in the world, I think you will have your motivation of trying to get things right.
And we are in Kalyug चल रहा है, तो we are
तो motivation
motivated.
की कोई कमी नहीं होगी.
We are motivated.
Right, Garima. I think that is the perfect note for us to wrap up this conversation with.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot, Garima, for your time and insights. It was an absolute pleasure.
Thank you for giving me this opportunity to be on your YouTube channel, The Hardened Civilian.
It is absolutely our pleasure. Guys, do comment your thoughts, share your views on, you know, what you think is going to happen in the private security space. We look forward to hearing from you.
Yeah. Like, subscribe and share.
Please do.